Hello guys, welcome back to Hey Manager with me Alex, and today we've got another episode of predicting FM26 Wonderkids, and today we're going to be going through the midfielders. So let's get into the action, shall we? So straight away we're going to get into the good bits here. Now Mochio. So I believe it's Mochio, I don't want to say Mochio, I think it's Mochio. Mochio plays for Ajax. He looks sensational. He's only 17 years of age, turns 18 next February. So for the good chunk of next year, he's going to still be 17 years of age. Last year, in all competitions across the Eredivisie, and I believe they were in the Champions League as well, Ajax, they were matches played 17, 840 minutes played, so about 9.3, so about half the games he played, the full 90. Only got 2 goals, but the main one I want to start focusing on here for these midfielders, that we're looking at your proper midfielders, your modern day midfielders, where they're like a number 6 / number 8. They like to, if you want to put a number to it anyway. Basically, the person who's going to sit in the midfield to pivot normally anyway, or they can sit as like a defensive midfielder, that holding midfielder in the middle. So this is the type of player we're looking at here. Mochio, no, he does play a little bit in a defensive. He can play centre back actually. He's about 6'1", 6 foot. He can play centre back, but he would be a wasted talent in that position. The progressive passes, the tackles and interceptions, 3.12, 3.44. Something just got in my eye. 3.12, 3.44. You know, he looks absolutely phenomenal playing in that CDM role. Like that holding position looks fantastic. As my contact lens, you just have to mind me, as I'll probably be blinking a lot because my contact lenses are hurting me this evening. Tackles and interceptions, unbelievable, 3.44 per game. You know, this guy, he's going to be an absolute machine in the middle, and he's also physical. Like his physical stature at 17 is mental. Like really tall, really strong, fast as well. I think going to be fantastic for the future at Ajax. Now he was in FM24. You can see there as a 15-year-old. And he looked unbelievable. Now, I didn't have him in the future in my Dortmund save. He must have come in during the January update. But for now, I didn't have him in my Dortmund save, which is a shame. But looking forwards, you know, you'll see him on, if you play FC25, you'll see he's a very good player and he develops into a really good player. So that's number 1 on our list. The next one, Ayoub Bouaudi. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Ayoub Bouaudi. Now, this guy, he's 16. I think he's turned 17 this year just. And I remember looking at him when he was 16. He was phenomenal. Honestly, 36 matches played for Lille in all competitions this season, by the way, after turning 17 in October. 21.1 full 90s. Only 2 goals and assists, which isn't major, but we're not looking at that sort of thing here. 94.1 passes completed. I do have to apologise. That should be 87.3. Those passes completed were his medium or long passes, I think it was completeness, but it should be around about 87.3. Progressive passes are 2.99, and his tackles and interceptions again 3.95. This guy really good at holding the ball, controlling play. Reminds me a lot of that Vitinha, that sort of Zaire Emery. Now Zaire Emery could still be in this. He's 18 years of age, going on 19 now. He could still be in this Super Wonderkids, but I think he's at that level where he's just too good. He's too good to be in this. He's going to be too expensive anyway, but Bouaudi, I think, or Bouaudi should I say, sorry, I think he's like that next upcoming French talent. There's so much talent in that French midfield. Looking forward, you're going to have Bouaudi, you're going to have Zaire Emery, you're going to have, Camavinga and Tchouameni for years to come. So much talent in that midfield, and this guy again dictates play. Physically very present as well. I think he's about 5'11", 6 foot again. Really good. But Lille are probably going to try and keep hold of him. He's French. They'll want him in that league. But I reckon if you're a big side, or we come down to the end of his contract, or he's unhappy with if Lille don't perform, again, I think you'll be able to get him in your sides on FM26. Now he wasn't in FM24. He was in the later update, but I don't have him at all at the moment, which is a shame. But absolutely phenomenal player, going to be really good in your saves in FM26. Next up is Andrija Maximovic. Now Maximovic, he's just moved to Leipzig, which is a shame. I was doing this video, I was looking at it, and they just announced it as I was making this stats board. Now, this guy's a bit more of your number 8, who's going to push forward, but can still do the bits in the midfield. He's not much of a physical presence, like your tackling interceptions, but a bit more of I want to say an advanced playmaker in your midfield too. Would always go forwards, can get back. He's very physical, very fast, but his tackles and interceptions, you can see there, aren't as high. Now, obviously, he was from, I want to get this right, Red Star Belgrade, I believe he was from. So he didn't have that many statistics to back him up. Obviously, these 5 interceptions in 34 games is not true. It's just I was only taking them from, I believe it was probably the Europa League Red Star were in, maybe the Champions League, but I was taking it from the European competition that they were in. So he's only going to have 5. The rest of it for the actual league that he was in, not going to have. Now he's just turned 18 this year. Was 17, just turned 18. Gone to Leipzig, I think, for around about £14 million. I think it's somewhere around that, maybe into the 20 million euros area. But last season, 34 games, only started only did the full 90 for 19 of them. Got 9 goals, so it's every other game, every 2 games is a goal contribution, which is pretty high. 91% passes complete. Progressive passes are 1.25. But as I say, tackles on there as well. Not going to paint the full picture, but a very good midfielder. A midfielder that you could put in the midfield pivot is going to be one. Reminds me a bit of a McTominay. Likes to bolster forward. Likes to get forward, try and play a pass, just clean. Runs around quite a fair bit, but tackles-wise and interceptions-wise isn't really his game. You can't read a player very well, not a defensive-minded player, more of a progressive player, more of I want to say a key chance type of player where he's going to try and develop something in that final third, has his head up, trying to look into the back line. So Maximovic is going to be difficult to get from Leipzig now, but I think if you were to start your saves early, early in July, early in late, maybe even late June, you will be able to get him if you don't play the real world version of FM. Now, if FM26 carries that over is yet to be confirmed, but that's how it would work. So, next up is Christos Musakatis. Now, this guy is the real deal, and I genuinely mean the real deal. He's going to be turning 19 in December, but he currently plays for Olympiakos in the Greek Super League. Last year, 32 games. This is at 17 and 18 years of age, by the way. 32 games, 22.5 full 90s, 6 goals and assists, so around 1 every 4 games he's going to get a contribution. 76.3 pass completed percentage, but that could obviously be because sometimes, if you're not playing with great players around you can't read the play, your pass is going to be lost. But progressive passes, look at this, 6.2 per game. 6.2. Now, that will only count the European games. The Greek Super League that is there will not count his progressive passes, so you won't see him every game. But for the games he played in Europe, which was around, I believe it was 8 to 12, maybe looking at if you look at the percentages there, maybe he played a full 90 for 7 of those, maybe, potentially. 6.2 progressive passes per game. This guy is your deep line playmaker. This guy is your Metzala, your person who's going to run around, but also going to be creating from the back, playing them passes in behind, them diagonals, them switches, whipping it down the line. He just does a bit of everything. Number 96, you got to know, a good player is good when they've got a 90. They've been given a number 90 because you don't just give them out. Players that want a number in the 90s often have to be very, very good, and that they get what they ask for. Christos Musakatis, you've got to remember this name because he's going to be very cheap in the new FM. He's going to be very, very good, and I think he develops into a very, very nice midfielder now. He's not the most statural player. He reminds me a bit of a Caicedo, where you don't expect him to be that strong because his height isn't there, but he's very, very clean on the ball, really, really good on it. Progressive passes, as I say, 6.2 per game in Europe. It's just mental. The guy just always looking up, always looking forwards, but also very good on the defensive end with the 3.71 tackles and interceptions per game. So that's Musakatis. Then, for the last one that we're going to choose, it's going to be Victor Frohlich. Now, I picked this guy. He's going to be turning 20 next year. He's from Copenhagen, and I think this is going to be a player that, if you're a Leeds, if you are a low to mid table side in the Premier League, this is the guy for you, Frohlich. I think he can come off the bench. Championship, he's going to be a starter for sure, but the overall game, when you look at someone like this, 40 games last year, 28.7, so this is when he was 18, 19, 40 games, 28.7 full 90s, 5 goals and assists. So again, not like contributing big time, but I need to put that in there so you can actually see the outputs and compare that. Passes completed 84.8, progressive passes 6.08, that's 30. That's 30. So again, 6.08 would be from the European competitions, but then his tackles 4.67 as well. This guy, honestly, just I think going to be an absolute workhorse in your midfield. I mean, you look at stamina, you look at like game time, you're looking at being fit, being available is a big must in like most of these games. Like your stamina from a young age isn't, you need to try and build that stamina, build that sharpness, build that up so your body gets used to it. I think Frohlich's already got it. He's obviously got 2 more years on the likes of your Buadis or your Mochios or so on and so forth. But tackles and interceptions 4.67, progressive passes 6.08. Honestly, you could play pretty much any role, I think, in that defensive midfielder slash like your midfield pivot 2 positions. Box to box would be brilliant. Ball winning midfield would be fantastic. Deep line playmaker defend, I want to see him on that. This guy just suits any of it. Your Carrillos, your Shuttlers, anything like that. This guy will be the person that you can just shove in there. He'll do a big shift. So Frohlich for me, Victor Frohlich, going to be cheap. Copenhagen again. These are the types of players. So Musakatis as well as Frohlich. I know the people like Mochio and Buadi and who's the other fella as well that I got in there as well, Maximovic. They're like your big names. If you're a big team, you're Manchester United, you go and buy whoever you want, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, like those type of teams. But when you're looking at being like in the Europa League, like a Crystal Palace maybe would be a fantastic one. Nottingham Forest in the conference. Musakatis would be brilliant. Frohlich would be an absolutely outstanding player to bring in, either to fit in a structure straight away, or to progress and be someone for the future. So that's who I've chosen. That's everyone that I've chosen. I'll quickly go to the end. Hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, as ever, please leave a like. So thank you so much for all the support of late. I really do appreciate it. It's really going well. 273 sub managers. Thank you so much. I hope you do enjoy the content I'm putting out at the moment. It's been really nice to do. I've been trying to get back into the the routine of coming home, trying to get things done. It's difficult, but I'm getting there slowly. So I hope you do appreciate that. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you are new as ever, and I shall catch you in the next one. From me, Alex. Have a great day. Ciao.